With over 1,600 planets and moons spread across more than 100 star systems, there are plenty of potential options when it comes to deciding where to set up your first outpost in Starfield. And deciding where to begin your journey is as an important step as the construction of the outpost itself. But once you've decided, the outpost building system can be a daunting prospect for newer players, as it includes a plethora of options to sink your teeth into. What buildings and crafting stations should I construct first? How do I effectively farm resources? How do I set up outpost links? In this video I'll aim to guide you through the basics of Starfield's outposts. We'll choose a suitable site to build our first base, go through the basic controls when in build mode, and I'll show you how to set up a basic outpost to farm the early game resources that you'll need to expand your base. We'll also look at how you XP farm, and finally how to construct a base and set up defences. I'm Mike the Gaming Dad, and welcome to my outpost guide. The first step in outpost building is choosing a suitable site to settle down on, and as already mentioned, this is just as important as what comes after. If you're wanting to grow your outpost, you're going to need resources, and if you build your first base on a planet or moon which provides you with none of the basic resources you need, it's going to slow your progress down considerably. With this in mind, the first thing you should be doing as you travel the stars is to scan planets and moons. This will reveal crucial information about the atmosphere, temperature, whether the planet has any life in the form of plants or wildlife, and crucially what natural resources can be found as shown by this coloured key, and how these resource veins flow underneath the surface. Now Starfield's celestial bodies are, sadly to many, not seamless worlds. You land in a spot and what you get is a procedurally generated map built using the properties of the area where you touch down. So if you select the mountainous area of Bessel 3b here, where there's only iron in any given direction, guess what? When you scan the area where we land, we're only going to find iron deposits. Likewise, if we land in an area where two different resource types converge, such as this area of Bessel 3a, there's a good chance that when we scan this area there will be resource veins for both materials, as shown by the beryllium deposits here, and then the aluminium deposits over here. And this is basically what you want to try to do with the majority of your outposts. The more resources you can farm in one location, the more efficient you are going to be. So are there any resources I should be looking out for early on? And the answer to that question is yes, there are. The ones I recommend are aluminium, iron, copper, titanium and nickel. These are core metals used in a wide variety of items that you'll be building, whether it be a landing pad for your ship to furnishings for the interior of your buildings. And out of these resources, at an absolute minimum, I recommend your first outpost you try to find a location that has these two here. Remember, you can always refer to your resource key in the corner. Bessel 3b has both iron and aluminium here. So why do we need these two resources? They are the only materials needed to construct the adaptive frame, and the adaptive frame is the most common manufactured component needed for all of your buildings. I'll show you how to produce these yourself extremely quickly later on in the video. Now before we jet off into space to find our first location, it's worthwhile collecting a few resources yourself, and a great place to do this are many of the various merchants you can find in major settlements, such as Jemison Mercantile in New Atlantis. For basic structures like an extractor, storage container, power source and a fabricator, you'll need some adaptive frames, tungsten, iron, aluminium, copper, beryllium, zero wire and sealant. And the last thing you want to do is to begin building your outpost in a remote region of space, only to find you are missing one key component. So stock up while you can. You can also blow up asteroids using your ship's weapon systems for resources as well, collecting basic materials like iron and water, alongside more precious metals like platinum. And lastly, you can hail various NPC ships in orbit around planets and see if they will trade with you. If they will, you may be able to pick up some of the resources you need, or even some more exotic materials as well. Now that we are suitably loaded up with resources, we are ready to land on the surface of another world and begin constructing our first outpost. But where shall this be? I may cover a few different planets or moons that make excellent outpost locations in further videos, but for now my recommendation is your first outpost should be in the Bessel system. This is a level 10 early game system located north-northwest of the Sol system, and once here you want to find Bessel 3b as shown here. After scanning the moon, the specific landing spot you are looking for first of all is this small iron deposit located in the southern region of the moon. Now if we zoom in, to the left of the red iron deposit is a small bronze coloured nickel deposit. Directly above the iron deposit will be 3 faint vertical lines which look a bit like scars, and to the left of those above the bronze nickel deposit is another faint vertical scar. And what you want to do here is find the point where the mountains converge with the hills. You need to be quite specific with where you place this, as this will determine if you land in the correct location or not. You literally only want to be one spot away from where the hills are, but it should say mountains. Here we are. Now it says mountains, and this is where we're going to land. Now when you land on the surface, you'll know you're in the correct spot if you see this large mountain over here, and then flat plains to the right. So let's just take a closer look at this mountain. Yes, this is correct. So we have this dark coloured mountain here, and then the plains located down here. Now we've found the correct location, what we want to do is head down the hill towards the mountain. Once at the bottom of the mountain, you want to head along the base and up and over this slight incline. Then on the other side you should see a small gas vent on the floor. If you find this, you've made it to the correct spot. Up there is where our ship landed. So now that we are here, bring up your hand scanner, and the area you are looking for is where 5 resource veins converge. See here we have iron, cobalt, nickel, aluminum and water all available from this spot. Let's just get a little bit closer. So if we move our beacon around, see how the available resources changes. You want the location that's going to give you all 5. So this spot here is where we are going to build our first outpost beacon. Now that our outpost beacon has been placed, it's a useful exercise before you start constructing anything, is just to check that you can actually farm all available resources as stated in this location, as sometimes veins can be right on the edge, and as such you can't get many extractors down. Now selecting each extractor type will show you where the corresponding resource veins are, so starting with aluminum, yes that is over here, and now for cobalt, yes we have cobalt down here. Iron we have over here, and finally nickel. Where is nickel? Okay, so nickel is down here near cobalt. I don't actually have the resources to build the water vapour extractor, so we can't check this one, which is a good reminder as to why you should have these resources readily available before you land. Once you have dropped the outpost beacon, you'll then have this symbol above the star system, which denotes an outpost has been placed here. And when you enter the system, the same symbol appears above the planet or moon where the beacon has been placed. And then finally you'll have an outpost marker on the surface which you can directly travel to. When you land, you'll always spawn directly next to your outpost beacon. So let's go over the basic controls and menu system during build mode. Bring up your hand scanner, and then to access your outpost, as I play using a controller, I press X as displayed down here. We've now entered the outpost mechanic, and from here we can either toggle the view or enter build mode, so let's press B to enter build mode. Once in build mode you'll see a few more menus appear, plus more controls. Let's start off with the top right corner, which shows you our list of available constructs. On my controller, LB and RB toggle through each building type, so we have a list of extractors, we have different power units, storage containers, builders which allow us to manufacture components, structures, crafting workstations, defense systems, robots, furniture, decorations, displays and so on. On the left side of the display you'll be able to see what resources are required to build each item and if it requires any power to run it. Now let's say we wanted to drop an extractor down. You can move around the map and select where you wish to place these down, however I find working in this view really hard to manage. To build, I highly recommend toggling your view to this. It's obviously up to you, I just find this view far easier to work with, and you can rotate your view here, zoom in and out, and you can also rotate the objects you are looking to build as well. Now one other thing worth pointing out in build mode is some of the items you construct can have variants. This fabricator here builds adaptive frames, but we can change this to one that builds manifolds, comm relays, and ISO-centered magnets and so on. Habitable structures also have variants as well, so this round hab you can build one with a glass dome instead. And this small hex lab also has a larger version. Looking through the various menus here though, there isn't a whole lot we can build yet, and that's because on this save I haven't unlocked a lot of the research yet, which allows for more advanced construction. This is all done at a research lab, such as this one in the basement of Constellation headquarters. Within here we have an Outpost development section, and it's in here where you can find various different research projects that when researched will allow you to construct new things at your outposts. So for example, I've already researched manufacturing 1. If we look at what this does, we can now construct simple fabricators, small warehouse modules and inter-system cargo links. But currently manufacturing 2 is locked, because we don't have the relevant perk required to research this, Outpost Engineering rank 1. Likewise, if we could research Resource Extraction 1, we'd be able to construct larger commercial extractors at our outpost. Because more advanced or even completely new buildings are locked behind research, some of the most important perks when constructing outposts are as follows. In the science tree, you'll want to eventually get to Outpost Engineering. With each subsequent rank of this, you'll be able to unlock more and more advanced modules, and then eventually at rank 4 your outpost modules will cost 50% fewer resources to build, which is huge. Planetary habitation is another one that you want to get if you plan to build a lot of different outposts. This perk will allow you to settle on worlds with extreme environments, ranging from extreme temperature at rank 1 to extreme pressure, toxic atmospheres, and finally extreme gravity at rank 4. You'll also be able to build 4 additional outposts with each rank. If you plan to invest heavily into outposts, you may also want to consider research methods. What this does is reduce the amount of resources you need to complete research projects with each rank, and then at rank 4 will make sudden developments twice as common. In the social tree there's outpost management, and what this does is allow you to construct additional cargo links at rank 1, additional robots at rank 2, crew at rank 3, and then at rank 4 your extractors work twice as fast. Lastly, before we begin building, there is one other control I wanted to highlight, and that is the track button as shown here. If you have a building or something which you want to construct, but you don't have the resources, you can track those resources. And what this will then do is place a blue magnifying glass next to all the resources needed for that construct. It will show this on all instances of those resources on other buildings as well. Now if you were to go to a vendor with this selected, these resources would be highlighted, so you can use this as a prompt to remind you to buy them if you wanted to. You can set up multiple tracks as well, but to be honest, this isn't something I ever use, as you need to go back and untrack each item in build mode, which I just found annoying, but it's there if you need to use it. Now we've gone over the basic controls, shall we start setting up our first outpost? Let's enter build mode and I'm going to jump into the aerial view. What I'm going to do first is build my extractors, and first of all let's start with aluminum, which is over here. And I'm going to place this right on the edge of the resource vein. The reason why I'm doing this is extractors have a circle around them, and other extractors can't be placed within the circumference of that circle, so you don't want to drop one right in the middle and then find you can't place any more around it. Now that's down, let's place an iron extractor as well, which is over here. And I'm also going to place this one on the edge. Now we have one extractor each for iron and aluminum, let's build some storage containers. Iron and aluminum are of course solids, so we need storage for solids. I'll build one here. I'm not interested in look and feel yet, guys. You can make it look pretty at a later stage. Right now this is just for resource farming. And let's place our second one here. Now if you look down at the bottom of the screen, notice how it says needed power is 10, but our total power is 0. And this is because each extractor needs 5 power to run, but we've currently not built any power source, so nothing is running. So let's get to that next. You can build any power source you want, but solar is better if the surface gets lots of sunlight. Likewise, if there is a thick atmosphere with potential for wind, you'll want wind turbines. These are the two options you should consider first. A fuel generator isn't worth investing in yet because we need helium-3 to power this, and we don't have a setup for this yet. So out of the two remaining, I'm going to go with solar arrays, as each of these will give me 4 power as indicated up here. There we go, so we now have 16 total power. Let's just zoom in and take a closer look at what we've built so far. So even though we have constructed these units, there is one slight problem. Our extractors are not going to fill up our storage containers. And why is that? Well, we need to create output links between our extractors and the storage we want to fill. So if you hover over this extractor here, notice how it says create output link down here. If you click this, what we can now do is create a link to the storage container you want to fill up, like so. Now let's do the iron extractor as well. Just to point out, when we drop these solar arrays, you don't need to link these to your extractors. Your extractors will run automatically providing you have the required power, but storage containers must be linked up. So what is going to happen now is our extractors are going to gather aluminum and iron and fill up each storage container. What I'm going to build now is... where is it? Ah, here, the fabricator, and the one we want is the adaptive frame version. I'm going to place this near our outpost beacon for now. Let's just zoom in, and I'll place that here. So what this will do is take our two metals and turn them into adaptive frames, but first we need to link it up. So let's go over here. Where is it? Ah, here it is. So what I'm going to do is pull directly from our storage container, and this is because connectors always flow downstream. So let's create an output link from here to the fabricator. And now from the iron container to the fabricator. And notice how now we have the red link which indicates these are connected. And this is now busy making adaptive frames for us. But what we need to do, similar to the extractors, is create somewhere to store these. And for manufactured components, this is a warehouse, so let's build one of those. I'm going to place it here near the fabricator. And now we also need to create an output link from the fabricator to the warehouse container like so. So what is happening now is the fabricator is making adaptive frames and they are filling up the warehouse container. So let's just recap what we have done so far. We have one aluminum extractor over here, and this is being powered by the solar arrays. The extractor is connected to this storage container here. Because the storage container isn't the last link in the chain, it's not currently filling up, because it is sending the aluminum to the fabricator here, which is in turn filling up the warehouse. And likewise the same for iron is happening on the other side. So with connectors, the last point in the chain is always filled first, and then we move up the chain. So until the warehouse is full and the fabricator is full, we won't fill up the storage containers. Then when those are full, the extractor will fill its small storage capacity, and then when that's full, the system should stop. Okay? So this system is going to run continuously for a while now, but what you can do if you want is to create a system that will allow us to turn this on and off as we please, and we do that via a switch. Now switches work a little differently to extractors, in that we have to assign a power unit to them in order for them to work. So I'm going to build a few new solar arrays for this. Now you may be thinking, why do you need more power? You already have enough power. I don't know if it's just me, but when I create a link between a power source and a switch, or anything for that matter, that power source then only powers what's been selected. Power is no longer shared between all sources once you've directed it to something. So in this instance, we'll then not have enough power for everything else to run. I'll just place our switch and then we'll connect it all up. So this switch here, we want it to turn the fabricator on and off, but it's not linked up yet. So what we need to do is, and I don't like this system by the way, I think it's not well designed at all, but that's just my opinion. Notice when we hover over our switch, under move, there is a greyed out option called hold for extras. Well, let's hold down A. Now we get an option called wire, and what we can do is link this to our fabricator. Okay, but this isn't enough yet. The switch needs a power source. So our new solar array lets also hold for extras and link a wire to the switch like so. This should work now, right? Wrong, as the fabricator is now linked to a switch and that switch is being supplied from one solar array providing 4 power, it won't run because it needs 5 power. So let's also link this to the solar array. And now look, it's back running again. So what is happening now is, these solar arrays are no longer sharing supply to the fabricator, these are solely supplying the extractor here. And the same for this side over here. And in the middle, these two provide power to the fabricator via the switch. So now let's just go back to the surface. If I pull this switch now, the fabricator turns off. And if we switch it on, it's back running again. Check you out, space electrician. And look, our adaptive frames are filling up nicely. So one thing we haven't covered yet which makes Bessel 3B great is the disparity between local time and UC time. Now currently our ship is all the way up there still, so we aren't going to go up there to wait or sleep. No, we'll do that here. So go into build mode and over to furniture, and we're going to construct a bed. Okay, now let's sleep.
Ooh, that add-on should spruce this place up a bit.
Look at this. 1 hour's rest here and over 57 hours passing game. So let's sleep.
That was a perfect way to end the day.
And now look, instant 100% capacity of your container. And this means that on this moon you can speed the process up massively. Okay, so what we are going to do now is construct some more extractors. And this time it's going to be cobalt and nickel. So first of all, our cobalt one needs to go over here. And I'm going to build this on the edge of the ore vein. There we go. And the nickel one can go down here close to our outpost beacon. Now it's time for some more storage, but this time we're going to need a lot more storage than before. So what I'm going to do is build 4 rows of 4 solid storage units. I'm just going to twist these around so we can see the capacity gauge on the same side as our outpost beacon. So that's 1 row of 4 done. And now, see, they like to clip together these, and you don't always want them to do so. The next row I'll build here. There we go, that's our next lot of 4. Now the next 4 I'm going to stack on top. Come on, go where I want you to go. There we go. And the last 4 will go on here. That row went down far easier. So now let's set up the outpost links. So starting off with cobalt, and you can go on the bottom row, and we'll link you outside in. With outpost links, as I mentioned before, when you chain them like this, The last link in the chain is always the first to be filled, and it'll work its way up. Now let's link nickel up. Now I'm going to delete this switch now. I'll set this up just to show you how you do it, but we don't really need it, or the fabricator right now, so that can go as well. And I'm going to delete this storage container and instead link iron over here. Iron can go on top of this one. Now finally let's delete this storage container as well, and aluminum can be linked to the remaining 4 containers. So now what will happen is this one will be filled, then this, then this, then this, and then finally the small amount of storage at the extractor will fill up last. Now what we need to build is an industrial workbench, which I'll place here. And now let's build a storage crate, and this is just so I can get myself under my inventory cap, as currently I think I'm way over. So I'm just going to drop a load of resources into here to try to get my weight down. Has that worked, or are we still over? Okay, no, we are still way over. Okay, one sec. How about now? No, we're still over. Okay, can we build a second container? No, we cannot. We don't have any more structural material. It's alright, we can load Sarah up with stuff as well.
Back, eh? How's it going? I'll only carry the good stuff.
There we go.
Oh, I love catching up with you. Let's do it again sometime.
So now if we look at our containers, our iron ore that was already pretty full, I'm guessing. The first one in the chain is at 70%, I think that stays. But these are all empty. So let's go sleep and see what happens. Let's go for 10 local hours.
Remember when I said...
And now it's night time. That's cool, as we can see our containers lit up now.
Now you know exactly what I meant.
And look at this, every container is full to the brim. And now for the fun part. Instead of making adaptive frames automatically, we're going to do it manually, and there is a reason why. Look at all our materials here now. 999 aluminum, 999 iron, and ISO-centered magnets which are built using cobalt and nickel. We have loads of that as well. So basically what you can do now is just build and watch the XP come in. And doing it this way is basically how you XP farm if you wanted to gain some quick levels. There is one thing we need to do though first, as otherwise we'll find ourselves ridiculously over encumbered. We need to build a landing pad, and I'd always recommend going for the bigger one because the smaller one caps out at a 40-metre ship size. Anything bigger and you can't land there. Okay, it's saying we don't have any beryllium. I think I know why. We left our resources in the crate, didn't we? Let's just check. Yes, we did. So let's grab that and then we can try again.
There's a huge difference between being prepared and carrying too much.
Right, now we can build the landing pad with shipbuilder. And what I'm going to do is try to get the stairs to it as close to my outpost as possible. And the reason being is we're going to have to haul our heavy ass to our ship once we're full of adaptive frames and magnets. Yeah, that'll do there. I don't like that it's dark still. I feel like we can't see anything. Let's just sleep so it's morning.
Damn it. Do we have to get up?
There we go, much better. So what we need to do now before we start building is get our ship here. I think our carry weight is okay. It's at 140, so right on the nail. So I'm just going to drop the beryllium off again just to be safe. And now what I'm going to do is fast travel away from our outpost. Let's go to Cydonia. It doesn't really matter where you go as long as you leave.
I picked up something you might be interested in.
And now what I'm going to do is go back to Bessel. And this may not work, by the way. I don't know why, but it can be hard to get your ship to actually land on your landing pad. Sometimes it'll appear and sometimes it won't. I don't know if it's me or if that's just a thing.
I picked up something you might be interested in.
The moment of truth. Okay, so we are lucky. There she is. Right, let's get building. Oh no, we've got the glitch. Okay, this isn't a bad thing. Basically there's a glitch and sometimes the industrial workbench won't let you use it. See here how it's saying it's obstructed. If you get this, the way I fix it is usually just a quick save and then load that quick save. That method's always worked for me. Let's just check our ship is still there. Yes, she is. Bingo. Right, now we can make some stuff. So what I'm going to do is 99 units at a time and see the XP come in. 113 of it each time we do it. You don't have to do this, by the way, if you don't want to. It's not something I do on my Let's Play or any other save, but it's a super easy way of filling your perk tree up right at the start of the game. Let's do some magnets as well. That'll do. So we gained a whole level there, and I didn't even do that many really. What's our carry weight at? 2,000, nice. So now I'm going to walk really slowly up to our ship. You can go quick if you want. You can't die from carrying too much. You may just get some ailments or injuries and it'll drain your health right down, but you won't die. Right, we're nearly there. Now let's go sell our stuff. It doesn't matter where you go, I'm just going to go back to Jemison I think and sell to the trade kiosk.
Hell of a city, isn't it? There's nowhere else like it in the galaxy.
Hey, what can I do for you?
There we go. And that's basically how you XP farm at an outpost. What I want to show you next is how to construct your base with defences specifically in mind, because over time you will get attacked and raiding parties are really annoying. So what I'm going to do is move our landing pad, because it's enormous and it's going to be in the way of where I want to build our base. Let's just stick it over here. So what I want to do now with our base is build it around this central location here. So I'm going to start with the 4-wall hab. And the one we want is the double hab. This one. Let's just drop this down. Now when you drop it, you'll notice you can choose the foundation to build it on, going from ground level to a few stories high. And we want to go as high as it'll let us. About here. Now the reason why I like the double habs is you can build bases that stretch over multiple floors really easy if you use these. So the next one I'm going to build one level down, and then we'll put one on the other side as well at the next level down. And then I'll also drop one here as well, just to show you can keep going down if you wish. Now our next building, let's make a science lab, and I'm going to use this sort of square shaped one. And then next to that, the military hab. I'm just going to rotate this though so the windows appear at the front. And at the front let's build a round hab, and we'll go with the hydroponic version. What should we go for next? Let's build another hydroponic one, this time a square one, just so it looks a bit different. And then we'll build another science one, but go with the original shape now. Once these are in place, you can move them around, by the way. So I'm just going to move the science one over here a sec. Now let's grab this one and move it here. And then place our science lab back here. Now let's clip this one back in place like so. Right, here should we build an airlock? We could keep going, but I just want to build a simple structure for now. And this side can have an airlock as well. And then finally we'll build one for this round hab at the front. So what you can do with the habs is, any of the ends that highlight like this, you can change those and you can add windows in. So I'm going to do that now and add windows to all the surface that won't have connectors on. This just makes me feel like I'm playing The Sims when I was a kid. I think that's all of them done. Now for the defences. So when you build a setup like this, I think it's best to have your defences built at the highest point, which should be the centre. And we're going to place them facing out from each corner for 360-degree coverage. I only have Ballistic Mark 1 unlocked in this save, so these will have to do. That's one in place. Now for the second one. It can be quite fiddly getting these things to go exactly where you want them to. And this will have to do, I think. It looks like it's hanging over a bit, but it's fine. And now for the third one. And finally the fourth one here. So you get 6 in total, so I'm thinking, should we build one here, or up on top still? Maybe we'll go here. And then where shall we put the last one? Actually no, we'll put the last two on this lower level facing forward. Our rear is a little more protected due to the mountain face, so I'm going to guess attacks are going to come from either the left, the right or straight forward. There, that'll do. So now let's build a scan booster, and this will increase our hand scanner range, and they look pretty cool I think when placed on top of a base. Now my recommendation when building bases is, try to keep things condensed. When raiding parties appear, they just shoot anything and blow it up, so if you have your power sources dotted around, chances are they may get targeted. So what I'm going to do now is place our solar arrays on top of our hab units. And if you're particular like me, you'll try to get them centered if you can. I'm also going to move these ones over as well, because all I want over here now are our single extractors. If they get blown up, it's not the end of the world, we can replace them if needed. All our core stuff we want protected. We do need more power as well, by the way, if you haven't already seen. Notice how in the bottom needed power is now coloured red. We require 41 and we've only got 24. I don't think I can put this wind turbine on here. No, I don't think we can. We don't have a lot of beryllium left, so I'm going to build some wind turbines at the back here just to get our power back up to the required level so everything is running.
Making this place feel like home.
No, I'm not going to build the last one there as it's blocking our airlock, so we can go on this side instead. There we go, we now have enough power. And now for some housekeeping. I'm going to move our warehouse unit over here, and then I'm going to delete the storage crate, the bed and the workbench, because we can house these things inside now if we wanted to. So these solar arrays don't look amazing on here, I don't think, and as you can see we've needed a lot of power to run this setup. What we should work towards is getting fuel generators, these babies, because one of these is like 7 wind turbines or 5 solar arrays for me. When we do have a helium source for these, what we can then do is bury them under here like so. Hang on one sec. Yeah, we can see it again now. So we can hide them within the structure, and that way they are protected and also out of sight. So now let's take a look at what we've built. So yeah, you can see our defences up there, which have a great view around the base. So if we get attacked from most angles now, they'll have good line of sight. These aren't always the most accurate, by the way, but it's what we're working with in these early stages. They tend to scattergun a little bit. Let's just move around the side and get another look. Yeah, this looks pretty good, I think. You can see how by step leveling it we can expand this more and more. We're still a few stories up on this side, so we've got room to expand. Should we take a quick look inside? It'll be empty currently, but we can use our imagination. I'll set about filling this during the next video. Did anyone watch MTV Cribs back in the day? And this is the Starfield version. Look at these views, man. Pretty wild. What could we throw in here? Maybe this could be the lounge area with seating. Maybe get a beer fridge in. I'll sort this at a later date. Let's take a look around. So over here was one of the science hubs we built. And that's just one of the airlocks on this side. This is a military hub through here. And then this is science hub number 2. And that's another airlock. And this is the top level up here. We can stack additional buildings up here, by the way, so this isn't just a staircase to not a lot. We can look at that next time as well. Right, let's get out of here. And there we have it, that's the basics of base building. We covered off choosing a suitable site, how to place your first beacon and ensure it is in the correct space, the basic controls of outpost building, how to set up a fabricator running, how switches work so we can have greater control over things, how local time versus UC time can be important, how we XP farm quickly, and finally how to construct a basic base including where to place defences. So next time what I think we'll do is look at cargo links. Let's try and set up a basic cargo link which will transport helium-3 to us here on Vessel 3B. This will allow us to then upgrade our power to fuel generators, and we'll only need a couple of these versus a ton of solar arrays and wind turbines. We can also look at lighting rigs potentially, as they look pretty cool at night. And I'll also show transfer containers and what they do. And yeah, lastly let's look at some furnishings for our new crib, which is probably going to be the most exciting part. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed. I'm Mike the Gaming Dad and I'll see you next time.